Big thanks to Bandai Namco Toys and Collectibles America for sending this out. You can check out Bandai Collect and links to buy this in the description.
Kaiju, Turtles, Dragon Ball, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, Collector Steven here, and quite the out of left field review for you today because when I saw this, I'm not gonna lie to you, I jumped for joy. This was quite an interesting reveal. Didn't think this was something that was going to happen, but today we have the SH Figuarts Buzz Lightyear Alpha Suit. Just going to go ahead and call him Buzz, just because that's going to be rather simple. Yeah, didn't expect this to happen. We have North American retailers and manufacturers making Buzz Lightyear Disney products, and now we have Tamashii Nations throwing their hat in the ring with an SH Figuarts. There is a Chogokin spaceship that's going to be for the movie as well, from the recent Lightyear movie. But Figuarts, cool, awesome. This is going to be a great addition to the lineup, though US MSRP is going to be in the $100 or thereabouts range. So with that in mind, that is going to be rather expensive. Let's be honest here, 3 digits. It's going to be pretty deep into the wallet, but we know that the SH Figuarts name is on it. And more often than not, that means we're going to get a quality product. And it should not surprise you that when I end this section, I'm going to say we're going to take a look as to why you should add this to your collection. That usually means it's already got the seal of approval, and I'm going to walk you through all the good things about it. A couple things we need to have reserves about, but nevertheless, let's see why Buzz should be added into your collection. Again, for the price point, it is going to be close to, not exactly $100, though I guess that does depend on the retailer you're going to be looking at. But with that being said, I mean, the quality control here is rather rock solid. I do think that for the alternate head parts, and we'll take a look at both of them, maybe the quality control could be just tightened up or maybe made to look a little bit better with the different face printing technology that Tamashii Nations is now using these days, and that would be really cool to see here. However, for what we do have for the overall product, aside from maybe variances between unit to unit for the quality control, this figure looks really fine and it looks great. I know diecast, I've spoken about it in a few different ways in the past. That would have been probably pretty cool to see in the feet, because if we go back to the beginning of the SH Figuarts line with the different Kamen Rider releases, they did feature diecast in the feet. Sporadically, we do see diecast in the lineup, and considering we do have a spacesuit here in front of us, that would be pretty cool. So this way Buzz felt a little bit heavier. But nevertheless, the paint application for Buzz, all the buttons that are going to be on him, and we're going to take a look at the accessories as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. Everything looks like it is masked reasonably well with no issues. The different decals that are going to be on his biceps for the armor, that looks fine as well. Is it going to be a one-to-one on-screen representation of what we saw? Not necessarily, honestly. I don't think I've ever truly seen that in a figure in any way, shape, or form, but nevertheless, this is going to be a great representation of the character on your shelf for the looks department. Now let's talk about how he moves, because it's pretty interesting there. I'll just kind of start it off the top for the articulation section and say that Buzz's articulation is fine. You're going to be able to get him into a lot of fun poses. Every once in a while, though, there is something quirky about the design process for some figures where, unfortunately, because of the way things fall into place, we may have interesting byproducts or unintended consequences, where we really need to take that into consideration with the design, the engineering, so forth, and we have to ask ourselves, is it really an issue? What am I talking about? Well, first and foremost, let's examine the head situation. So Buzz is going to come with 2 alternate head parts, and we're going to see them closer in the accessories section. So the head is going to be, this is going to be true for both of them, on barbell style or double axis ball joints. So this way we can look around, and then they swap out at the neck piece that plugs into the suit here. So you're not going to be swapping out the actual heads, but you're going to be swapping out the neck parts. This can lead to them being a bit loose in terms of moving them around, unintentionally popping them off, but it's not that big of an issue because they can just pop right back in. But as you can see here, the movement for it will be the same for both. It's fine. Buzz can look in pretty much all directions. Something to keep in mind as well, he does come with his dome, right? So once you pose it and you put the dome on, just keep in mind, just because I feel like it needs to be said, you got to take the dome off again before you can repose the head. Just think about that. It's not a fault on Bandai's part. Just wanted to point it out. So if you're familiar with the Dragon Ball Figuarts, you already know what I'm going to talk about here next. We do have these floating shoulder pads, which are attached, but they're a little bit different compared to what we have in the Dragon Ball lineup. This is actually going to be closer to the Ultraman Figuarts, wherein they are actually going to attach into the shoulder part, but a bit different. It looks like they're plugged in on a hinge, and then that hinge plugs in on a ball joint, which is really cool. So we can have them completely cover up the shoulder joint, or we can have them drop down a little bit, so this way we can utilize the hinge and better have them integrated into the sculpt. So this way we don't block or hinder the arm articulation. So yes, the shoulders are on hinges, and we can raise and lower them. So Buzz can get about that much for a T pose. We can spin the arm around, and you can see there, hinges forward and back. And as you saw, we do have a dedicated bicep swivel, which is really good. I think it was on this one. Yeah, the bicep swivel can pop off, which honestly, if it does, as you can see, that's how the innards of Figuarts arm works. So it's not that big of a deal. You can just pop it right back on. So you do not break them. And also make sure your SD card doesn't fill up. Anyway, hinge for the elbows. Double hinge. Very good. Because of the design, they really could not do much better, I think. That's plenty enough clearance. For the wrists, these are rather easy to pop off, so do keep that in mind. But they are going to be on pegs that plug into the forearm, so this way we can spin them around. We do have hinges that allow you to move them in one direction, and then the hands themselves plug in on small ball joints, so this way we can get them to spin around as well. So what I mean by that is you have to basically just rotate them in order to get the hands to hinge, if you will, in different directions. So something to keep in mind for that. All right, here's where we get a little bit odd, and I'm not going to count the articulation for the other accessories and so forth. So we do have the ab crunch, which we can actually kind of sort of see what's going on here. It looks like there's going to be a hinge system that allows Buzz to lurch forward a bit more in conjunction with a ball joint, which is actually really cool. That's how some of the older Dragon Ball Figuarts worked, and it's actually a really cool system. So Buzz can lean about that far back, and we get a gap. Or we can lurch about that far forward, and we can rock from side to side, which is really cool. Now for the hip section, where basically we have a lot going on that we can't really see unless we look very carefully, and note that his pelvis armor is basically housing a whole bunch of stuff that can collide into each other. So it's not really that big of an issue until we realize, oh, paint can scrape. So something to be mindful of. So we are going to have that ball joint where you can hear clicking because it's tight. So we can rock forward and back and twist and turn from side to side. Now, the issue here is that we are going to have, well, let's just effectively call them swivels. And they plug in just below that ball joint. So when we go to kick Buzz's leg up, or maybe off to the side, and we go to lean over, you'll begin to notice Buzz doesn't necessarily have as much clearance as he would if we didn't have the leg up. So, once again, you can see almost clear. Well, I probably won't be able to get in there that far, but wait a minute. And for my own sake, you can very much so see right in there. See how it comes down? And then the leg collides in with that midsection piece there. The moment we get that out of the way, shoop, leg goes into the body. So something to keep in mind. Sorry to blow out your picture display there, but that's how that works. Anyway, Buzz can kick about that far forward and that far back. We do have dedicated thigh swivels. Very nice. Double hinge knees. Okay. He's got these big old boots, which I'll talk about in a second, that house ball joints and a toe hinge. Now, with that system for the ball joint, whoa, what do we got there? Yeah, pretty cool. And we do have effective ankle rocker movement. But the interesting thing about it is because of the system, there is a hinge that connects. It's easier to show. You have the hinge here that moves that ball joint, that socket, as you can see, forward and back. Now, I just finished up a move. I don't have my SH Monster Arts Kiyus or the Millennium Mecha Godzillas. There's a system that they have there, which basically would allow you to move the foot forward and also be able to put the foot down. So he could do that and then put the foot down. So this way it could be completely outside of the lower portion of the leg. That would have been cool to see here. But anyway, for the articulation for Buzz, I mean, all things considered, this guy rocks. We can put him into so many different fun poses, with really the only detriment being if you've got him tilted to one side, then you have to really keep in mind that you may have some colliding parts in his pelvis. But otherwise, I think that if you're a fan of this character, this is basically going to be the one action figure you need for any of the poses that you have here. Whether or not you're going to be mocking up some different displays and pretending that Buzz may be a different character than he actually is, or if you want him going toe-to-toe with Goku, Buzz is going to be able to do that. He definitely has earned his right on the toy shelf for you now, if he hasn't so far. Now time to talk about accessories, and what do we have? We have 3 alternate sets of hands, which are going to be trigger hands and also hands to hold his Laser Blade DX. We're going to have pointing fingers and we're going to have splayed out hands. So we are going to have the Laser Blade, we are going to have a Laser Gauntlet, and we're going to have the Rascal Blaster. To accompany both the blade and the blaster, we're going to have alternate holding parts for the thigh and the back for Buzz. And of course, we are also going to have the jetpack with alternate wings. There will also be a support stand cradle for Buzz, so this way he'll be able to lift off. Of course, as I made mention before, he is going to come with an alternate head part, and he's going to come with the iconic dome that Buzz is well known for. Let's go ahead and kick off the accessory section by taking a look at that alternate head part. I already talked to you about how we go ahead and swap those out, but what I didn't talk to you about is how we get the dome on. All right, so first, let's look at that alternate serious head part where he has his hood pulled up, and this is a solid expression. Like I said before, it would be interesting to see what the results would be if they used the face printing technology that they use for, let's say, their Marvel characters, but nevertheless, everything looks good here. For the dome, let's go ahead and get the pictures up now for how the different head sculpts look when he's inside his dome. Pretty straightforward, light reflects pretty well. No real issues here except for one minor issue with a little bit of flashing on the back part of the dome, but that's going to be hidden, so if that bothers you, then sorry to say that. But the way that the dome works is that, I guess the best way to say is that there's going to be 2 little buttons that are going to slide off from the inside of his collar area. You're going to slide those off and you're going to slide the dome on. I will say this is kind of an extra step in the process. Personally, just pop those off. You're never really going to notice if those are going to be missing. That's just what I do. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at those accessories that he's got. He's going to come with the jetpack with alternate wings, and the wings are going to be the same quality control that are going to be spread out compared to when they're tucked into the jetpack. Really cool there. We do have the blade, we have the blaster, and we are going to have the gauntlet, which all have great quality control as well. And it's nice to see that translucent plastic is going to be used for the blade, which is awesome. Utilizing all those different accessories, let's go ahead and take a look at how the different holder parts are used. For the blade, he is going to have an alternate attachment part to the back piece, which all you're going to have to do is stick your fingernail in there or use something with a very small tip and pop that out. And then you're going to put in the different holder attachment part into his back and pop the blade in as such. For the thigh as well, that's where he's going to be able to hold the blaster, and all you have to do is just use a small little tip there. You're going to be able to pry that out, and once it pops out, make sure you keep your eye on it so this way your carpet doesn't eat it up. Then the blaster just pops in real easy. For the gauntlet, it literally just slides over his forearm piece, and that's it. Not complicated whatsoever. Now for the jetpack, this is straightforward, where he would hold the blade on his back. There's going to be a little hole that is revealed. All you have to do is just slide in the backpack in that hole and you're good to go. For swapping out the wing parts, all you have to do is literally just grab the folded wing, pop it out, then pop the expanded wing in, and then vice versa if you want to switch back. Also, for the jetpack, all you have to do is that little red outline button there, pop that off, and you're going to see a hole. That's so this way you can use a Tamashii Nation support arm, so you can plug it in there and you can use that instead of the included cradle. Whew. All right, Buzz comes with a whole lot. Let's go ahead and throw up some action shots so this way you can see how Buzz looks with some of those accessories. Combined with the articulation, Buzz does work very well for a few different display options, and quite frankly, he can go toe-to-toe with a lot of the different characters you might have on your shelf. He doesn't actually have to go with Zurg, but maybe he should. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's get that made. Come on. Let's see him. But anyway, yes, he looks very great. So here's how he's going to look if he does have the support stand plugged into the jetpack. Very fine, no issues whatsoever. But here's how he's going to look with that cradle. All right, so to wrap this section up, the accessories that Buzz comes with, rock solid, really nice to see here. I can't really think of much else to include for this price point. Overall, though, what I will say are going to be two critiques. One, for the different head sculpts that Buzz comes with, we kind of go for either 0 or 100. We either have happy without the hood on for his space adventures, or we have angry or stern with the hood on that's ready for the dome to be put on so this way he can go on the space adventures. We don't have anything in between. It would be cool to see alternate parts so this way we can swap between happy Buzz and stern Buzz with or without the hair or the hood. So maybe an accessory pack so this way we can have different display options for his heads or faces would be good to see. Likewise, for the cradle, we do have that, but we don't have an actual support stand. Considering there are some Marvel characters underneath Disney, we could maybe have gotten a space theme or a Buzz Lightyear theme support stand with the base. That would have been cool to see as well. But again, for the price, perhaps this was all that they could work in for the budget. Which that's not negative, that's just stating a fact. If you do need anything else like support stands or effect parts, you know I have videos to help you out. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a size comparison because we're wrapping up this review, and as we can see, he's going to be in your average SH Figuarts size between that 5.5 to 6 inch scale mark, so he will blend into pretty much any collection that is already set up. Very easy. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Like I said at the top, this is a very easy purchase. Some of my contemporaries, if you will, have noted that this is quite possibly figure of the year material, and while I don't necessarily think it is quite there, this is really good, and if you're eyeballing this figure, it's really fun, and you're not gonna be upset with the purchase. I like it. You will too. That's about all I have to say. Doom memes. That's another thing. Doom Lightyear. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.